It looks like we
All right.
are ready to get into our first match here, Edge.
I
I am
cannot wait.
watching on my Nintendo Switch,
Let's go.
which actually I got TEC for it like yesterday evening, because it was on the kind folks at Enhance. I said, hey, I don't own TEC, and then they went, I got you. So you know
Yeah.
what? I got.
Super appreciative to Enhance for
Mhm.
that. Enhance is supporting our competitive communities, so huge shout outs to them. They did a watch party in their Discord for the PK stream while that was going. So huge thanks to them. They've also been retweeting and supporting all of our Square One qualifiers. But yeah, first up, Kazu from Japan representing the Beetle, and then you got Kabuzo down there.
Caboozled
with,
High. Did we scale up his? We definitely scaled him up. That's actually super funny. On the boost.
Yeah, so when the
Yeah,
players are ready, we'll get straight into the game.
Yeah, we are going to be playing a 1st to 7 here. The first match in Group G. We're going through, what, half of Group G? A little bit more than half?
Yeah, we're going through over half of Group G. So out of the 6 total matches, I'm pretty sure they need to be played. We're playing 4. So the only matches that remain would be Gen versus Tag and Gen versus Caboozled, which you'll see at a later date to be announced.
Yep.
We got the 2 players right here. Caboozled on the left, Kazu on the right. 1st to 7. Let's get into this. Anytime now, at the player's discretion. I can't wait to see this, man.
Yeah, I'm super excited, especially to see if Caboozled, Kazu's pretty good. But
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited to see if Caboozled can stand up to him in a, pose like a really good challenge. I think Cab has it in him for sure.
Oh
He's
yeah,
great.
absolutely. Like, Caboozle is definitely a very triumphant Tetria player, so it's gonna be very good to see like how after this month or 2 of practice, very consistent practice, how well he stacks up in Tetris Effect connected against someone who I'm pretty sure he can readily beat on Tetria.
All right, and we're getting into it. Kazu starting 6-3 stack, Caboozled with a PCO. Phase 1, I think, having played a little bit more TEC than the last time I tried commentating this game, Phase 1 feels a lot like you're feeling your opponent out, It's like there isn't a huge opportunity to kill most of the time, so it's a lot of just trying to send enough pressure to force your opponent to use their zone or to use up some amount of resources.
Yeah, basically speaking, we had a simultaneous zone there. Caboozled unfortunately having to cut his short, but a pretty good 38 attack 15 line. Kazu's getting a lot more mileage out of this though, almost getting an ultimatrix out of that. Caboozled luckily able to cancel out of that through regular mid-game play.
Yeah, definitely zone is a huge factor in TEC, but you can never really count out just the general skill in other aspects of the game. We know that Kazu is definitely a back-to-back master, but Caboozled definitely has some really, really good sauce as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And we see
Caboozled
a
is pushing a lot.
Perfectress coming out from Caboozled. Gonna send Kazu, force him to use that zone once more.
Love that mid-game PC coming in from Caboozled after the zone. That's going to send a lot more damage over to Kazu. Unfortunately, not in the middle of the zone. I don't know if you've seen zone PCs, but they send an insane amount of damage. And as a result of that PC damage there, we got Kazu getting cheesed up a little bit as we are now fairly deep into Phase 3. So this cheesy garbage is definitely going to be coming out now.
For those of you who don't particularly follow TEC, the game is split into 3 phases that occur once at the beginning of the game. That's Phase 1. Garbage will send almost completely clean. Phase 2 happens between 20k and 60k, I believe.
Yep, that's correct.
And garbage will become a tad bit messier. And at 60k and above, which we are seeing now, both players floating 80k, almost 85 on Caboozled, 91k on Kazu's side. The garbage is incredibly, incredibly cheesy, and it's TEC's way of not letting matches just absolutely go to time. Like someone has to die eventually, and it's looking like here in this first round, it might be Caboozled gonna receive a ton of lines. Kazu taking that first round.
Very unfortunate there. I'm very curious to see these stats right here. Look at that. Nearly 1 attack per piece from Kazu for 2.5 minutes, dude.
It is so crazy. And to think he didn't really pull out any incredibly massive zone attacks. A lot of that damage came from just regular Tetris mid-game APM.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we looked at that zone attack there, both players having a very consistent zone APM as well, which is very important. You want to limit your bad zones to as little as possible. Definitely want to play zone more offensive than defensive in this kind of tournament setting, because if you're playing defensive zone, you're opening yourself up to very low attack values, which will just give your opponent a lot of mileage to get that up enough, get that zone advantage, which is very deadly, especially after phase 3. If Kazu's able to consistently send out 10 to 20 more zone attack than you for each zone, you're gonna be screwed.
You're a bit in the red.
Yeah,
just a tad.
The 10 bit in the red, it's gonna be a little hard to recover from, but some players can do it, especially because in phase 3 pressure can absolutely wane as you try and play longer and longer and more and more.
A great float coming out from Kazu here. Just gonna top out Kabuzo really early into that round, not even hitting phase 3 there, and Kazu now up 2-0. Again, almost 1 APP on Kazu's side. Let's see if Kabuzo can show stuff. Some 6-3 stacking coming out from both players this round. I feel like 6-3 is definitely like meta.
Oh yeah, 6-3 is very advantageous, just because you get it's the fastest stacking method in this game, and it allows you to quickly fill up that zone meter. So for some of you who may not know, zone meter is not actually filled up by the amount of damage you deal. It's measured by the amount of lines you clear. So
really?
going for Tetris earlier in the game is going to be a lot better, especially if you want an early zone advantage, which we're seeing Kabuzo pop zone right now. Some amazing floating T-spins here coming from in the zone.
Oh,
really efficient.
Oh, he almost got there. I think he misheld.
And that misdrop.
I think he misheld that piece just a tad.
Yeah.
And Kazu gonna be able to cancel off the zone almost completely, accepting just a little bit.
Yeah, Kabuzo was quite lucky that Kazu made a couple of mistakes there in that zone. As you can see, they're misdropping at the end and also having to do a couple of spins to resolve a poor stack on the left side. But as we know with Kazu, definitely able to work through that, and that's what we saw. But phase 3 transition is going to be happening soon. In fact, it will probably
now. Both players popping zone. Kabuzo with some great floaters, a great Z prop there. Let's see if he's able. No, unfortunate misdrop. Oh, can he open back up? He does. Gonna get to 17.
Yeah, don't count Kabuzo out there, because Kazu's zone was quite lackluster, actually. Only about 14 lines coming through from there, which you don't really want to see in a phase 3 transition. When you're transitioning into phase 3, or you first enter phase 3 and you pop that zone, you want to kind of put out as much attack power as possible, because if you let yourself get spiked, you're just welcoming in a lot of cheese into your board, which you're seeing Kazu and Kabuzo deal with right now. Kabuzo's having to come up with some unique solutions for their stack to try and get down.
And Kabuzo is going to find a great down stack here. Let's see if he can continue this. It's looking a little rough. That O-piece comes at a great time. And he is going to pop that zone. Forced to use it defensively. As you said, not ideal, but, you do what you got to do to live.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the zone is still a great defensive tool. It's just like if your opponent is able to play very huge offense, it's not going to work well. And speaking of that, huge misdrop cannon from Kabuzo. Very unfortunate to see there. Nerves might be getting to him right now.
Yeah, but not to say that Cav is playing particularly poorly. Still with that 90, almost 100 APM, which is a big number.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely two world-class players here. It's just that Kazu is maintaining such amazing efficiency in this set right here that it's going to be hard for Kabuzo to kind of match it. So we're waiting to see if he has that juice in him.
We're seeing a lot of Kabuzo forced up into these positions, using his zone a little preemptively, only getting 12 lines off of that. And Kazu gonna gonna get an Ultimatrist 64 attack, and that is I
was gonna say great choice from Kabuzo there to start that zone. Unfortunately,
doesn't. He almost doesn't. He almost finds the out there.
Yeah, I think survival long road for Caboozled, but it's definitely possible here with how quickly he's able to charge the zone meter with the fixes. But oh man, it's gonna barely be there. He's actually almost managed to get out of this. Wow, that survival from Caboozled. You certainly cannot ignore that.
Even though that round ended up going to Kazu, that was a very, very strong showing of survival knowledge on how fast zone will charge given the amount of lines that he's cleared. Like, you can tell that he is pretty familiar with the rate at which zone charges, with how like on the dot he was with a lot of his zones in that defense.
Yeah, absolutely. Also worth noting for some newer people here, for potentially Tetris Cup fans from Team TSD, as phases increase, you've been noticing the garbage is getting messier, but it also gets exponentially more difficult to fill the zone meter. You'll see that in phase 3, it takes a super long time to actually get a quarter charge, though you might not notice because of how fast these players play. But when you look at more casual gameplay, you can definitely tell that it is quite a bit slower. Phase 1 and phase 2 are very friendly in that fact, where you get quite a quick zone charge to fix any mistakes, but in phase 3 it leaves you more on your own.
Obviously, for many of you watching, this is the top echelon of gameplay, and you can tell with just how fast and how efficiently both these players are playing. I have played a lot of TEC in the past day. I have gotten to phase 3 like 4 times. So it's not these players getting to phase 3 so quickly is just a testament to how skilled they are at the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, keeping up this endurance for such a long time and, polling this high APM is definitely something that only the top echelon players can do. And look at that. Phase 3 in only 1 minute and 30 seconds. However, Kazu's still able to grab that round. Despite, you see that zone APM step from Caboozled, it was actually considerably higher than what Kazu was pushing out, but that mid-game pressure is just what's going to allow Kazu to take that round.
You see Cab with a bit of a couple misdrops here. See if he's able to get out of these situations at all. He's going to open up his board pretty well.
There was a great 2-7 stack transition. Meanwhile, it looks like Kazu had a super T-spin double going on into this 9-0 well. Both of them really wanting to max out the zone meter. Caboozled showing off with some floats right now, though, while Kazu is definitely playing more on the striding angle, just trying to keep up this 9-0 stack into this zone, which is now provoking Caboozled to send an attack.
Oh, Kazu getting to 19 lines there in that zone. Very, very strong. I think he had the sight for an Ultimatrist, but couldn't quite get the eyepiece over.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that's also going to mention is a lot of these players who you're going to be seeing in this tournament are Curvatrist capable. That's clearing 21 lines in the zone, and Curvatrists send an exponential amount more damage than Ultimatrists. So if these players can find one, they're definitely going to take it, even if it sacrifices mid-game board state, just because it just gives so much more damage. Speaking of, Caboozled, I believe, set up a mid-game C-spin there into a combo, provoking Kazu to zone just to cancel the littlest amount of garbage here. And now they're both running.
Kazu's going to find just an incredible zone off of this. I think he's going to find 20 lines and another Ultimatrist from Kazu. And Cap, even though he got a 17, he's just going to get absolutely one shot, one kill.
Yeah, unfortunately, Kazu there. Caboozeld's zone was unfortunately provoked by a misdrop, so there wasn't a lot of room to mix efficiency into that zone attack. He was very much playing that for survival, which is unfortunate, and it definitely gave Kazu that edge there that allowed them to take the round. But continuing onward here, mid-game, round 7 here, Kazu only needing 1 more point to take the set. Will Caboozled be able to muster up some pressure here and take a couple rounds from Kazu? I think it's definitely possible.
For sure. I think he definitely has it. And he's going to find some great T-spins there. Great skims into finding more. TSS there. Going to find a 47 attack. Definitely a very strong one there coming out from Caboozled. but Kazu is he seems unfazed, you know.
Yeah, this is looking really rough for Kabuzo right now. Unfortunately, making a couple of misdrops. Oh, and the misdrop in the zone. There's
That
gonna
is
be
a
no meter
super
to
rough
fix this one. I think that's gonna be game.
Kazu with a clean sweep over Kabuzold. Many rounds almost and hitting 1 APP through the entire round.
Yeah, you can see there, Kazu really wanted to get that one done there as the efficiency really degraded.